Hello and welcome. Today we're uncovering a superpower for mental health that you already have access to. Can you guess what it is? It's not a fancy therapy or a new supplement, it's sleep. Yes, good old sleep. That thing we often skip or skimp on. Ever notice how after a terrible night's sleep you might feel anxious, blue, or just mentally all over the place? You're not imagining it. In this video we'll explore why sleep is your mental health superpower. We'll break down how quality sleep can ease anxiety, fend off depression, sharpen your focus, and help you regulate your emotions. And don't worry, we'll keep the science easy to understand and the tone friendly and relatable. Let's dive in. Think about a time you were running on only a few hours of sleep. How did everything feel the next day? Maybe your heart was racing or little problems felt like big deals. There's a reason for that. Sleep and anxiety are like two sides of a coin. According to a study from UC Berkeley, just one sleepless night can trigger up to a 30% increase in anxiety levels. 30%. That's huge. It's as if your brain's alarm system goes into overdrive when you haven't slept. Here's what happens. Without enough sleep, the emotional center of your brain, called the amygdala, basically starts freaking out. One researcher found that the amygdala was about 60% more reactive to negative things after people pulled an all-nighter. In plain terms, when you're exhausted, your brain is much more likely to jump into panic mode or interpret things as stressful. Ever find yourself overreacting or getting unreasonably upset when you're tired? That's the sleep deprivation doing its mischief, messing with your emotional regulation. Now here's the flip side, the superpower side. Deep sleep is like a natural balm for an anxious mind. In fact, the lead scientist of that UC Berkeley study called deep sleep a natural anxiolytic, which is a fancy way of saying it's like your brain's own anti-anxiety medicine. During deep non-REM sleep, your heart rate drops, and stress hormones like cortisol go down. It's as if your brain hits the reset button on anxiety overnight. Meanwhile, REM sleep. The stage when you're dreaming is like emotional first aid. Researchers often describe REM sleep as overnight therapy because during dreams your brain is processing emotions and smoothing the rough edges off difficult experiences. All of this means that when you get enough quality sleep, you tend to wake up feeling more balanced and less stressed. Your worries are more manageable. Sleep truly helps put that emotional fire-breathing dragon back to sleep, so to speak. We've tackled anxiety, but what about feeling down or depressed? Here, sleep is just as critical. Have you ever noticed that after days of poor sleep, your mood tanks? You might feel more hopeless, or just unable to enjoy things. There's a well-established link between chronic sleep problems and depression. It works both ways. Feeling depressed can make it hard to sleep, and not sleeping enough can fuel depression. Let's talk numbers for a second. According to Johns Hopkins Medicine, people with chronic insomnia, long-term trouble sleeping, have a much higher risk of developing depression. In fact, insomnia may make someone up to 10 times more likely to become depressed. That's astounding. And it goes the other way too. Roughly 75% of people with depression struggle with insomnia or restless sleep. So if you're tossing and turning night after night, it can really drag down your mood over time. It becomes a vicious cycle. Poor sleep makes you feel low, and feeling depressed in turn can disrupt your sleep even more. Why does this happen? One reason is that sleep is when our brain replenishes the chemicals and hormones that regulate mood. Things like serotonin, dopamine, and others you've probably heard of. Skimping on sleep can throw those out of whack. Plus, as we mentioned, REM sleep helps us process emotions. If your sleep is short or constantly disturbed, you're not getting that emotional processing time, so negative feelings can stick around and even intensify. There's also evidence that depression itself messes with your sleep architecture. For instance, it can cut down the amount of restorative slow-wave deep sleep you get. That means a depressed brain often isn't getting the quality deep rest it needs, which could worsen the depression, and the cycle continues. The hopeful news? Improving your sleep can brighten your mood. Some therapists even focus on treating insomnia as a way to lift depression, since tackling sleep issues often makes people feel better overall. Think of a solid night's sleep as emotional recharging. You know how plugging in your phone overnight gives it 100% battery in the morning? Quality sleep does that for your mood battery. It charges you back up so you can handle the next day's ups and downs. It might not magically cure a serious depression on its own. To be clear, depression is complex and often needs multiple approaches. But getting decent sleep is one of the simplest, most effective steps toward feeling more like yourself again. It's a fundamental pillar of mental health. Alright, we've covered emotions and mood. Now, let's talk about focus and brain power. Ever try to get through work or school on very little sleep? It's like thinking through mud. Your brain feels foggy, you forget stuff, you make silly mistakes. This is one of the clearest ways we feel the impact of bad sleep. In fact, science shows that sleep is absolutely crucial for concentration, memory, and clear thinking. Here's a wild comparison. Staying awake for around 18 to 20 hours straight can impair your reaction times and decision-making as much as if you were drunk. Yes, seriously. One famous comparison by the CDC says that after about 24 hours awake, your cognitive impairment is equivalent to having a blood alcohol level of 0.10%, which is above the legal limit for driving. So essentially, if you pulled an all-nighter, by the next morning, your brain is operating as if you downed a few beers for breakfast. No wonder focusing is hard. Even less extreme sleep loss causes issues. Suppose you get, say, 4 or 5 hours of sleep each night for a week. Studies have found that this kind of partial sleep deprivation adds up and can make you as cognitively impaired as a full night without sleep. You'll notice it. You might read the same sentence over and over and not absorb it, or you'll feel spacey in a meeting, or forget why you walked into a room. This happens because during normal sleep, especially in deep sleep, your brain is doing a lot of important housekeeping. It's strengthening neural connections that form memories, and during REM sleep, it's linking together information in creative ways and solving problems. Ever wake up with a great idea or solution after sleeping on it? That's REM at work. When you cut sleep short, you miss out on portions of these cycles, so your brain's efficiency drops. It's like skipping maintenance on a machine, things start to slip. Lack of sleep can also affect attention and mental endurance. You might have noticed your attention span is much shorter when you're tired. This is because sleep loss hits the focus circuits in your brain hard, making it tough to stay alert. It's harder to filter out distractions too. Everything might grab your attention except what you actually need to concentrate on. That can be frustrating and even anxiety-provoking in its own right. On the flip side, when you are well rested, your mind feels sharper, tasks seem easier, and you might even notice your creativity is better. Your brain has essentially had its overnight tune-up, so you're ready to perform. That's the superpower of sleep in action for your cognitive health. It's like a secret weapon for mental clarity and productivity. Now before we wrap up, let's quickly touch on quality of sleep because not all sleep is equal. Getting, say, 8 hours in bed is great, but if that sleep is light or constantly interrupted, you won't reap all the mental health benefits we've been talking about. Quality sleep means you cycle through all the stages, light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep, in a relatively uninterrupted way. Both deep and REM sleep are essential for the brain. Deep sleep, the really slow-wave heavy sleep, is when your body and brain do major restoration. Think of it as the time when your brain cells take out the trash. Literally, they flush out waste products that have built up during the day. Deep sleep also calms your nervous system, lowering blood pressure and helping with recovery from stress. Then there's REM sleep, where a lot of dreaming happens. As I mentioned earlier, one scientist poetically called REM sleep overnight therapy. During REM, your brain is processing emotions, memories, and experiences but in a safe, low-stress environment while you dream. It's kind of amazing. Your brain can replay or recombine the events of the day, but without the same jolt of adrenaline, so you work through emotions. This is one reason a good night's sleep often puts yesterday's worries in perspective. You literally have more emotional distance from problems after dreaming on them. REM is also linked to learning and creativity. Ever heard the phrase, "let me sleep on it"? There's truth to that. Your brain often consolidates information and even solves problems for you while you snooze. So, how do you ensure good sleep quality? That might be a whole other video, but in brief, keep a regular sleep schedule as much as possible. Make your sleep environment comfortable. Dark, cool, and quiet works best for most people. And give yourself time to wind down before bed. Those practices help you get into those deep and REM stages reliably, so you can actually activate this mental health superpower nightly. It's not just about length of sleep, but quality. Both matter. 6 hours of solid deep sleep can sometimes be more rejuvenating than 8 hours of tossing and turning. Ideally, aim for both enough quantity and good quality. Your brain will thank you. Alright, let's recap and wrap up. We've learned that sleep isn't just rest, it's a mental health superpower. A good night's sleep can tame your anxiety by literally rewiring a freaked out, overtired brain into a calmer state. It can guard against depression and boost your mood, giving your brain a chance to refresh those neurotransmitters and process emotions so you feel more resilient. Sleep supercharges your focus and memory, making you sharper and more productive, and keeps you from feeling like a zombie, or worse, a drunk zombie the next day. And it helps you keep an even keel emotionally, so you're less likely to snap at your loved ones or break down over small hiccups when you're well rested. The best part? This superpower is completely natural and free. It's something you can start prioritizing tonight. Of course, life gets busy, and we can't always get perfect sleep, but understanding how powerful sleep is for your mental well-being might encourage you to give it the attention it deserves. Think of prioritizing sleep as an investment in your emotional and mental bank account. Every decent night of sleep is like a deposit that makes you stronger and more prepared to face whatever comes. So, the next time you're tempted to stay up late binge watching just one more episode or scrolling on your phone, remember what you're trading away. Your sleep isn't just downtime, it's mental health uptime. By getting enough quality sleep, you're literally healing and upgrading your mind every night. That's what makes it a true superpower for your mental health. Warmly, thanks for watching and hanging out with me to talk about sleep. I hope you found this enlightening, and not a snooze fest, pun intended. If you learned something new about how sleep affects your mood or mind, give this video a like and consider sharing it. It might help someone who's struggling with their stress or mood to realize that better sleep could be a game changer. And if you have any personal stories about sleep and mental health, or tips that helped you sleep better, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear. Here's to great sleep and a healthier, happier mind. Sweet dreams, and see you in the next video.